Let me start by abiding with the protocol that had been established earlier on, but I want to extend some special courtesies. First of all, to the Honorable Commissioner for Education, who is representing the governor at this occasion, Honorable Sunday Eluwole, who is from the state. And so I'm very glad to be here and to have you representing the governor. I want to recognize the Vice Chancellor, of course, who also was on the governing council of this great university when I was serving on that council. And to recognize the representative of the registrar of the Medical and Dental Council, Dr. Nwakama. And finally, my senior in medical school, my predecessor as provost of the College of Medicine, University of Ibadan, who is today's medical elder, Professor Temitayo Shokunbi. And I will start from him. The citation that was given, yes, listed so many things, but it omitted the most important. And I think it's important to say it here as an inspiration for the graduating students, that you make something worthwhile of your life. Professor Shokunbi left the country to get postgraduate training in neurosurgery in Canada. And at the end of that training, he had several offers to stay on. In actual fact, his classmates were wondering why he decided to come back to Nigeria. But he came back. And today, every neurosurgeon that has been trained in this country were either trained directly by Professor Shokunbi or the people he trained. So let me start with my congratulatory remarks. I hope they will show the slides. So, yeah, the next slide, please. Yes. So, this is just showing that I'm delivering this induction. Okay, that I'm delivering this induction. Yes, so my first note of congratulations is to the Osun State University and the Osun State University Teaching Hospital for this epochal event that is taking place. And then also to the teachers, to the parents, who I'm sure are very proud of their children, their wards that are today being admitted into the medical profession. No, it's all right. I think I'll stay with this. And finally, I want to address my dear colleagues who are seated here today. As you depart from the medical school, after a period of intense and sustained application to your studies, it is appropriate that I should remind you that being in the medical profession is a call for you to serve humanity, represented here today by the Deputy Registrar. I am sure some of you did hear the announcement shortly after you were admitted that your admission was null and void. But here you are today. You can celebrate. You have burnt the midnight oil. Today, you are being certified as having mastered the science and the art of medical practice. But then your journey into the profession is just beginning. I remember very clearly the day I was inducted into the medical profession, June 21, 1980, as if it were yesterday. I had unwavering belief that I had been called to serve humanity with my medical knowledge. And in my youthful idealism was the determination to make a difference wherever God led me to practice. Well, 46 years later, I sincerely believe that I have made a difference, even if it is more modest than I imagined then. And I wish to share with you how you could do better than I have done. As you begin your individual journeys in the medical profession, the one thing you must be convinced of is that you can make a difference. Wherever we find ourselves, we can choose to make a difference. The attributes that would enable you to make a difference as medical practitioners are the title of my brief exhortation to you today, which is character, excellence, and service. If you had read the invitation to this event and the banners that have been displayed, you will realize that the sequence of those three attributes in the theme of the event is different from the one I have just presented to you. And that change in sequence is deliberate. I graduated from the University of Ibadan. And at this convocation, when we were being admitted, the Vice Chancellor will read out that you have been found worthy in character and in learning. The character comes before the learning. Without the character, the learning is worthless. Character is the foundation of human expression and achievement. Inherent in your character are the things that have been learned through childhood and adolescence. The values inculcated by parents and other people in your lives, whether at home, in school, and in the community. Like it's often said in Africa, it takes a village to raise a child. The primary driver of how we behave as adults are the values that are inculcated in our formative years. These values are ingrained in our character, which is who we are and how. And without excellence, whatever service we render will always leave much to be desired. So if you are going to make a difference by your service, watch your character and strive to attain excellence in knowledge and skills. The values you hold dear as you take the physician's oath for the very first time today have partly been acquired during your sojourn in this medical school. Your teachers have, by their conduct during your training, tried to impart values into you that have been shaped by their own life experiences, while nudging you to learn under their tutelage and to continue to seek new information from the inexhaustible store of knowledge that is out there. I'm sure many of you, if not all, have had to use artificial intelligence even to get to this stage. And that will only continue to expand. It is inevitable. That's the human experience. The chap moving the slides, please, you need to be up to speed. So you need to sharpen your power of observation, which has been an essential part, a cornerstone of the training that you have received in this medical school, whether it's in taking a clinical history, conducting a physical examination of your patient, or reviewing laboratory results. If you cannot perceive, then you cannot practice. I know some of you will be interior decorators, as the medical elder has said. But even as interior decorators, you still need that power of observation. Keep owning on your perceptive ability, because that is what will help you to attain excellence. And it's only if you are excellent that you can provide wholesome service. Now, you are called, by virtue of the training you have received, to deliver hope that replaces despair, to deliver joy that replaces anguish, to deliver relief in place of anxiety, to deliver comfort to replace pain, and to deliver health to replace illness. In order to make a success of your calling and to deliver service with excellence, I wish to commend to you 3 attributes that you are going to need. And I will call them the 3 C's: courage, compassion, and confidence. In the course of your professional careers, you are definitely going to face challenges. Sometimes the challenges we face may seem immense. We have to be honest in appraising situations and be bold in offering solutions. We must be forthright in making our views known when there is a need to change an existing situation, and be quick to help those in need. Sometimes it's tempting to feel helpless and overwhelmed by the non-availability of the resources that we feel we need to perform our duties. But we should not succumb to such temptation. What will stop you from giving up is courage. Courage. You must resolve to remain indomitable even when confronted with daunting odds. You must refuse to be subdued or defeated when it comes to doing what will preserve or restore the health of those under your care. You must summon the reserves of power that will enable you to overcome the challenges. Courage. Courage. As doctors, we hold every life as being of tremendous value. And whatever we do must maintain the sanctity of human life. Whether we are charged with looking after people who have contributed enormously to the community, as many dignitaries here have, or we encounter people who are derelict, abandoned, homeless, it is the same spirit that we treat the crème de la crème of the society, that we must treat even the lowliest person that comes across our path. The value we place on human life and health must always be evident in our conduct, no matter who our patient is. And the attribute that enables us to do this is compassion. Compassion. That's our second C. This requires, on the part of every doctor, empathy and sympathy. Empathy involves understanding another person's feelings as if you were in their situation. While sympathy requires feeling for someone in distress while maintaining some emotional distance. As medical doctors in the course of care, we must always remember that anyone can be a patient, including us. Seated right here, the medical elder. A little over 20 years ago, I was his patient. I had survived a gruesome accident. I was actually operated upon by 4 teams of surgeons. His own team was the last to operate upon me. They went inside my brain. So I can never forget that experience. Because having been a doctor for more than 25 years, suddenly I was at the other end. And no matter how long you live, at some point, somebody would have to take care of you. If, God forbid, you make an early exit, that will be because something happened that ought not to have happened, some illness or some trauma. And if you stay late, like my late father who stayed for 100 years, somebody still has to take care of you. I remember I had to bring in surgeons to Shogbo. The last few months of his life, because he had a procedure done on Big Head Hospital, but I brought the surgeons with me from Ibadan. So at some point, you are going to be patient. You need to treat people the way you would want to be treated. And at the same time, you must maintain some emotional detachment from the patient so that the decisions you make will be rational. That's why it is ill-advised to treat yourself or to treat a very close relative. You need a physician who can appraise the situation dispassionately and provide care that is not clouded by poor judgment or pity, whilst at the same time remaining compassionate. We need to be empathetic and sympathetic simultaneously. Let me move to the third C, confidence. Only physicians who have confidence in their abilities can deliver the best of care. That kind of confidence, and by the way, that is very different from smugness or arrogance. That confidence comes from having the appropriate knowledge and skills to provide care and getting the experience that reassures us that what we do actually improves the life of the patient. We can always deliver on the implicit promise we owe our patients by accepting to be their doctor. And that is that we will do our best to take care of them. As a doctor, you are called to be a leader of the health team. You can choose to answer the call or to ignore it. But if you choose to serve as leader, then you must be ready for the challenges of leadership with confidence. Be ready to stumble or fall, but be just as ready to pick yourself up and resume the struggle. Let us always strive to do the best to deliver our patients with whatever resources we find available to us. Someone once said, in truth, however, making a difference in our world is not so much about resources as it is about resourcefulness. You need to be resourceful. Even where there seems to be nothing to use, you must look for a way of helping somebody that comes under your care. You don't just throw up your arms in helplessness. That is not the lot of a doctor. You must look for a way to do it. There are situations where I have completed a whole surgical procedure using torchlight to operate on the patient, but the patient survived, and that's what's most important. We need to be resourceful. It is an incompetent workman that will blame his failures on his implements. We must strive continually to do the best we can in every circumstance, making that a way of life. I want to quote Aristotle, who lived more than 2,500 years ago. We are what we habitually do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. And I also want to commend to you the words of Charles Kendall Adams. No one ever attains very eminent success by simply doing what is required of him. It is the amount and excellence of what is over and above the required that determines the greatness of ultimate distinction. My father, can you move the slide? I want people to see the photo of my dad. Yes, oh, it's dark. That's all right. He was an immense inspiration to me, and he had a motto: keep pushing. That was the motto he gave to the school where he was the foundation principal 76 years ago, in 1950. And that is how he led his life. The school, by the way, is Oshobo Grammar School. It's right here in this city. I commit that motto to you all. Keep pushing. Never give up in the pursuit of excellence. Finally, your trainers have tried to share the right values with you to shape your character. And now, as you are inducted into the medical profession, you are called to excellence in service. Make up your mind to live up to that billing. Take the 3 C's: courage, compassion, and confidence with you on the journey. The world out there awaits you to promote the health of people, to prevent diseases in the populations that you are going to serve, and to provide excellence in care to those who have ailments. I wish you every success in that pursuit of excellence as physicians and surgeons serving humanity on a solid foundation of character and excellence. You are called to service. Will you heed the call? Thank you all for your attention.
Globally competitive graduates are the product of Uniosun, home of culture and good conduct. Can you dream and your vision? Uniosun State University, producing world leaders of tomorrow.
If you enjoyed that lecture, please appreciate the guest lecturer once again.